10 strange things you probably didn't know about the Earth. Planet Earth is an awe-inspiring place, and there's no doubt about that. And it's even more true for the handful of humans who have had to experience it from space with their very own eyes. Former NASA astronaut and first US woman to walk in space in 1984, Katherine Sullivan, once said, "We tend to think of ourselves as a weird tiny little human being on a very large powerful planet, and therefore clearly irrelevant to anything that might affect the planet at the planetary scale." In some ways, that's true. But if you step back and look at the planet in total, you see how richly interconnected and intertwined all the actual systems are. Despite the Earth's magnificence and majesty, it is also just kind of strange. The Earth has a bunch of immanent idiosyncrasies, from geographical weirdness to the landscapes adorning its surface to the organisms it supports. Also, the more we get to know about Earth's peculiarities, the more we are likely to appreciate and treasure its many wonders, starting with the air we breathe. Sullivan says, "You look back at the Earth and the huge majestic ocean. The atmosphere is a lot more like the fuzz on a tennis ball than some big massive thing. It's like the wall of a soap bubble, this little membrane that envelops this grain of rock, and is the reason that creatures like us can live. Here are a handful of things on this planet that you probably had no idea existed." But before we get to that, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get notified every time you upload a new video. Without any further ado, here are some of the oddest things about this gas-shrouded ball of water and rock we call home. Number 1. The planet's poles flip. We all know that the north is, well, north somewhere above Alaska, and south is down near the middle of Antarctica. To say the least, the north is north and the south is south down there. And that will always be true for the planet's geographic poles. But that is only partly true for the planet's magnetic poles. Over the past 20 million years, the magnetic poles have flip-flopped every several 100,000 years or so, which means that if you had a compass in hand about 800,000 years ago, it would tell you that north was in Antarctica. Number 2. It has a supersized moon. If we were about to take a tape or whatever measuring device to determine the size of the moon relative to Earth, which is quite impossible to do, you'd realize it is positively enormous, coming in at a quarter as wide as our home planet. The only two other planets and moon comparison that can surpass this is Pluto and its biggest moon Charon, which really form more of a binary system. And thank goodness the moon is so big and so close, because if it were smaller or farther away, we would never see total solar eclipses. Number 3. The biggest mammal migration is airborne. Oh yeah, you probably thought that the 1.3 million wild beasts that trotted their way between Kenya and Tanzania were tops. But you're most definitely wrong. Millions and millions of bats fly between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Zambia's Kazanka National Park every year. With more than 10 million of these cat-sized mango-munching, echolocating chiropterans involved, it's the largest known mammal migration on Earth. Number 4. It hosts a humongous fungus. We cannot talk about the biggest living things on Earth without mentioning blue whales, elephants, and trees. Sometimes we can recall that coral reefs are the largest conglomerates of critters. But surprisingly, the largest single organism known is an Armillaria mushroom in Oregon. One of these fungi was found in Michigan, covering 37 acres way back in 1992. Even though recently, some teams investigating a mysterious tree die-off discovered that the only culprit was an even more monstrous fungus that covers at least 2,000 acres and is estimated to be thousands of years old. Number 5. Some parts are downright alien-looking. There are some really creepy and spooky-looking places found on the Earth, one of which is Ethiopia's Danakil Depression, which is a bizarre landscape worthy of the superlatives tossed at it. It can be termed the hottest, driest, lowest, and weirdest all at the same time. Those simmering hot springs, poisonous gases, crackling lava lakes, and salty mirages make the Danakil Depression seem like one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. Even here, life has found a way. Number 6. One island boasts an undersea waterfall. Now let's get to explain what we actually mean by this. The southwest coast of Mauritius appears to be teetering on the edge of a plunging undersea waterfall. Bet you have never heard or even seen one. Well, that's why you have us. Here is an explanation. The looming abyss and the island's precarious position are just an illusion. Swirling ocean currents carrying silt and sand create the forbidding pattern, which is painted atop a relatively innocuous seafloor. It's quite spectacular when viewed from above and can even be seen in Google Earth imagery. Number 7. There are hidden gems beneath your feet. I'm sure you almost know this. It's no secret that all sorts of germs are discovered in places every now and then. Well, if you didn't, now you do. Buried 1,000 feet underground, the gypsum pillars in Mexico's appropriately named Cave of Crystals are the largest natural crystals known. Some of the beams in the sweltering cave measure more than 30 feet long. You might think it's hard for Earth to hide such a glittering crystalline truth, but the cave was only discovered in 2000, when silver miners accidentally broke through its walls. Number 8. Some of its clouds are alive. No, we didn't just make that up. Sometimes at dusk, dark-shaped shifting clouds appear near the ground, and as they swirl and morph, these clouds tend to look like they're positively alive, and it's because they are. They are formed by hundreds or thousands of starlings flying in tandem, and the phenomenon is called murmuration. Scientists suspect that birds engage in this mesmerizing display when they are looking for a spot to roost or evading predators. But it's still a puzzle as to how exactly they achieve such exquisite acrobatic synchrony on the fly. Number 9. There's an underwater meadow. The Mediterranean's most widespread seagrass, named Posidonia after the Greek god Poseidon, has also been thought to be among the oldest known living things on Earth, and genetic sequencing recently revealed that an expansive Posidonia meadow that is growing off the coast of Spain could possibly be as many as 100,000 years old. Which in other words means that, before our modern human ancestors even left Africa, the first of these seagrass shoots was gently putting down its roots and beginning a process of cell division and cloning that would survive through the global spread of humankind. Number 10. One river is boiling. Sounds crazy, right? But once thought to be the simple stuff of legend, a boiling river hidden deep in the Peruvian Amazon actually exists. Okay, it's not actually boiling, but the river comes within a few degrees of that mark, and it's still hot enough to transform an already otherworldly rainforest into a steaming mystical paradise that can cook clumsy small animals alive. Recently, National Geographic explorer Andres Russo went to the boiling river and returned with a reason for its effervescence: tremendous geothermal activity that's unrelated to volcanoes or oil drilling. That's all we had for you guys. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comment section down below, and if you have any suggestions, feel free to tell us in the comments. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of such videos. Also give this video a big fat thumbs up. See you in our next video.